if you look at what Tynwald has committed itself to, there was a resolution in October of 2016 on free TV licences for all over 75s in the island. That was endorsed to me on the 28th of February this year in a letter from Howard Quayle. And so consequently, I'm finding it very difficult to understand why we seem to be waiting for the BBC. We have made a decision. What we have to do now is to cost that decision and to see, and I appreciate that when this started we weren't in COVID, and therefore I appreciate that we are much more strapped for cash. And I can understand that and appreciate it.
Does cost matter when it's an issue like this?
No, it shouldn't, because I want you to picture an old person sitting at home by themselves, and my interest, obviously, firstly, is veterans or veterans' dependents, veterans' widows, veterans' widowers. But picture that old person sitting at home by themselves, and it's bad weather, and they don't go out in the winter, and they've probably, hopefully, got their groceries coming to the door, or somebody is helping them. And we learned a great deal about that during COVID, helping people, and I hope we can continue to do that. But daytime television is that person's opening to the world. And you cannot put a cost on that, and you're absolutely 100% correct. If you do put a cost on that, then, it's like there's a Chinese proverb that says, if you cost flowers so that they become a luxury, you haven't yet learnt the true meaning of civilization. Well, I'm not saying we're looking at it like that, but what I am saying is that can you put a cost on benefiting that old person sitting at home by themselves? And the answer is no, of course you can't. And when we start to talk about costs, it was mentioned in Tynwald only yesterday, I think, was it not? The cost now is £850,000 or thereabouts if we provide everybody with a free TV licence. Now, when I first started to get interested in this, the cost was about £500,000, and I do appreciate that the costs are rising. First of all, the television licence cost rose in itself, so that was a direct cost. And of course, we're all living longer, so more people are crossing the 75-year mark, and consequently it is going to cost more. But put it into perspective, when is it going to reach 1 million, if ever? And what is 1 million in the concept of the total domestic product of the Isle of Man?
Well, if you can afford to pay and you're over 75, should you?
Yes. I am absolutely convinced that. Now, how you do that, whether you just put out a piece of corporate social responsibility and ask people to pay if they can, then that would be fine. Now, there's a double edge there, of course. Is that a benefit directly to the Manx economy? Well, only if they are paying directly. Yes, it is a benefit because it's £157.50 in the back pocket of the Treasury, which is great. But how do you do that? How do you go out to people's social consciences and say, if you can afford to pay, pay? Now, I know people, talking to people about this, who've said quite willingly, yes, of course I'll pay. And we've discussed it, my wife and me together, and of course we will pay. But there is still that veteran of mine sitting alone, and daytime television is their only contact, and they can't afford to pay. And the problem with drawing lines with regard to benefit is very simple, and that is the line has to be drawn somewhere, and the civil service will, of course, obey the rules and draw the line. They have no choice. They have to do that. So if somebody is £10 or £20 above the line in income to draw whatever benefit is chosen as the qualifying benefit for a free TV licence, they're immediately 140 quid out of pocket. So that line has got to be drawn extremely carefully.